Welcome back to Real Day Nation, where we discuss real day topics. And as you already know, on Real Day, we have field days. And on Real Week, we let the real speak. And on today's Real Day topic, we'll be talking about mom's side versus dad's side. Who you're closer to, who's more ghetto, who gives you the most issues, and things like that. And that's what we want to get into today. Who I'm closer to, it'll be my mom's side. And I think it was by default because, as we already know, a lot of the times the father's not present. And being that my father was not as present as most fathers should be, I gravitated toward my mom's side. But there is something that I would like to share when it comes to my father's side. Now, earlier on, when I believe him and my mom had just stopped talking, he was present. And I think it was because of proximity. And when we get into proximity, it was in the St. Thomas Project. So we all was right there. He was close. It was walking distance pretty much. So during that time, when he would come and get me, he would take me by my auntie. And I got to kick it with my cousins. Now, they were female cousins. I did get a chance to get close to them early on at that time, but once that proximity was no longer a factor, that fell off, right? And so now I'm only kicking it with my mom's side. I'm going to see my cousins on my mom's side, my aunties, my uncles, my grandma on my mom's side alone. So for the longest, it was only my mom's side. And I think that plays a factor because when you look at the research in the US alone, 1 in 4 children are raised by single mothers. The father is not present at all, not even a stepfather. It's 1 in 4. That's a high stat to me. You know what I'm saying? So I know here at the Real Day Nation, when you see the three of us, we don't fit that mold because our children are here present. You know what I'm saying? We definitely have relationships and they definitely know our side of the family. And that's what I'll get into a little bit later. But for now, what I'm getting into is my background and who I was closer to. Now, I already mentioned that with my father being absent for the most part, I grew closer to my mom's side of the family. So as I'm getting closer to them, I realize who causes me the most issues, right? And it's really hard to really give them the W, being that my father's side wasn't that present. But I'll say this, even though, and this is for the father side, anybody who is looking at the father side of the family. Now, even though a father may not be present, I still feel like, and this is just my opinion on it, I still feel like the father side of the family should still be present into the child's life, even if the father is absent, not doing anything. You see that a lot of times I'll say in the black community, because that's who I'm close proximity with. I don't really see any other side of how their interactions go, but I do see grandmas a lot of time. The grandma on the dad's side is still trying to be present because, you know, that's their grandbaby, so they want to be present in that aspect sometimes. But I also feel like, I wouldn't say it's their responsibility, but if you want to have a relationship with that child, then I do feel like the father side of that family should still interact with that child, be checking on the child, you know, doing for the child, you know what I mean? Because that is your family as well, even though the father is absent, you know what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion on it. What about y'all, man? Who were y'all closer to?
I was closer to my mom's side, probably for the same reason, proximity, and just not actually growing up with my dad on the day-to-day. There were relatives that were closer, like around the geographical area, but people just living life and doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They may not have either seen me. I was kind of young when I realized dad wasn't really present, and that kind of created a little hole in my soul. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna be completely honest, I love my dad's side. You know what I'm saying? Now that I have, and I'll get into that Now that I've connected with my dad's side a little bit better, but I did gravitate more towards my mom's side of the family, and I love them. I love both sides, but I definitely gravitated towards my mom's side, just because my dad wasn't present. So I had to. I would say that it created a one lens view of the world for me, and it was up to me to get the other lens and look with both eyes. As one mentor told me one day, you got to find both eyes and get a clear picture. And what they were really just trying to say is I have to open my mind up to both sides and the world views they have and the different views I have and how those compare and contrast. I'm able to do that better now that I'm connected to both sides of my family. But growing up, it was a little more difficult because I wanted to know my dad's side more, so much so that hole in my soul caused me to start being good at other stuff like research and identifying certain geographical and genealogical things about myself and my family and traits and stuff like that. If I had my dad's side already connected like I did my mom's side, I may not even be as good at those things as I am now. So there definitely was something good that was born of it. It wasn't the only thing good, but I definitely could have used my father's side a little more in my growing up for sure. But to answer the question, mom's side.
Now, I also share things about my father when he was present at the time, when he had that time or that proximity, I'll say, because my dad didn't have a car. My dad rode a bicycle, bro. He rode a bike, and sometimes that bike was pink, so I don't know who he took the bike from. You know what I'm saying? Who the bike belonged to. It could have been one of my cousins. Who knows? But I also say this. It's two things that... I got experiences with my dad that I share with my wife and my kids, and we laugh at it because it's funny now. But when I was experiencing it, it was crazy. But the first thing my dad taught me was how beer tastes and how it tastes with Cheetos Puffs. I was a little kid. My dad gave me beer and Cheetos Puffs. That was my snack. You did? That was my snack. My dad was, just to give him some grace, he wasn't a bad father. I wouldn't give him that. He was just absent. And that's what affected me the most, I'll say, because I think a lot of the times little boys do need their dads in their life for that guidance. Yeah, mom could give you that nurturing, you know what I'm saying? But you definitely need that father guidance, you know what I'm saying? Because there's some things that a man can teach a boy that a woman can't. You know what I mean? You got women out there that believe they can, but I do believe that boys need that male guidance, whether it's a dad or an uncle or even a mentor. They need that guidance. You know what I'm saying? So that experience is what my father is. I can share one more thing. Now this is a adult me, and I don't mean to jump topics here, just switch gears like that. But it was another thing. I called my dad. Me and my dad had the same first name, not the last name. So I called my dad. They used to call me Little Drell all throughout my childhood, right? Especially my dad's side. Everybody else just called me Drell. But on my dad's side, it was always Lil Drell, right? So I called my dad. I'm an adult now. And I call him. I say, hey, what's up? What's going on? He's like, who is this? I say, this Drell. He said, this can't be Drell. I'm Drell. And I'm like,
that sounds like something you would say
on this phone. I'm not about to sit on this phone, bro, and call myself Lil Drell.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just some of the experiences. Because I believe that even though he was absent a lot of the times, me coming up and me having those experiences that I had as a kid and him being, absent during those times when he more than likely was needed, I did have I guess you could say a relationship with him as an adult male. We had conversations where I called him or he called me and we talked for a little bit, but I believe that I still didn't get the answers that I was seeking from him. So I still would, even though as an adult, I was close. Well, I ain't gonna say close, but having a relationship with my dad, I still did not get closer to my dad's side like that. Because again, my dad has sisters. You know what I'm saying? And I talk to some of them now, but it was mostly when I was a kid where that foundation was, I guess, built. It was mostly just my auntie and my cousin who were definitely at my birthday a couple years ago, if not last year, the year before. They were at my birthday celebration down in New Orleans. So that relationship is still there for them. But I do believe that it could have been closer if my father played that role that he was supposed to play. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you the roadblocks that were probably in his way to make himself present. I can't tell you that. He can only tell me that. You know what I'm saying? And when I was asking him questions as an adult, I don't believe he can articulate it the best way possible. I don't believe he knew how. So, that's still left unanswered. So, but I don't want to take away too much time from the session, and I want to give J Pro that time.
I'm blessed enough to be close with both sides for different reasons. I mean, naturally you be closer with your mom's side because that's what you was living with. But I mean, actually, my family, my dad's side, only stayed like 20 minutes or 15 minutes away in Metairie. So I mean, it was right there. So I mean, when I was a kid, I started off going to school with my dad's side because of my birthday is late. In September. It's in September. It's after the cutoff date. And in St. Charles Parish, you can't be born after September 1st, or you're gonna have to like wait to go to school. So I had to go to school in Jefferson Parish. So I was always around my cousins, all the Wallace side. All us grew up together. All us were around the same age. My grandmother had 12 kids, so I mean, them 12 kids had 12 kids, and them 12 kids had 12 kids. So I mean, we got a big family, like the Wayne's family. To be honest, it's like there's a lot of us, and we all like around the same age. We all do our thing. My mom's side, is a little more older. All my first cousins were like 10 years older than me. So I was close to them growing up too, but, I hung out more with the local kids by my mom's side. My mom really, she always was hanging out with her cousins that's, like her people, but, and none of them really had kids that was my age. So I never really got to hang with them like I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? Just because it was just a bunch of old people, like my mom and the baby, so like everybody's like way older than us. Like my oldest cousin is what 52, something like that, and I'm 37. So I mean, but as far as like my dad, he took a lot of vacations. So even when he wasn't around, I still was by my people's house. Like I still was by my Wallace people's house, So even when he wasn't around, like even if I ain't seen him in years, I still would be over there by them. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, we all grew up together. We all went to school together. We all played and all that. So like even now, they all came to my wedding, and we still talk now. I still go to the parties when I can, and one of my cousins was DJing on Canal for the Mardi Gras. Chilling with them, for a little bit. So I was blessed enough to have that, even with my dad not being around.
Do y'all remember the last thing your dad gave you and the last thing your mom gave you?
Yeah, I remember my dad. I think the best gift my dad ever gave me to this day was when I was in, think, 16, 17. It's when I got my camcorder. And, I'm a filmmaker. So, that was, important to me because
Right.
he got it from a crackhead. He was like, son, I ain't gonna lie, you dig? My dad is still a hood nigga, so, I ain't gonna lie, you dig? I ain't got this hot, but, hey, you know what I'm saying? I want you to live out your dreams and shit. And that's the camera I used when we was kids to record all our stuff. I still got that camera to this day, actually. And the last thing my mom gave me was some money the other day, actually. So shout out to moms.
Shout out to moms. Gotta have that bread, baby.
All right, the most important thing that you could give anybody in this world is your time, right? So that comes from a father and a mother. The best thing you can give your child is your time and dedication. All right. So I did get time from both of my mom and dad, but a physical thing that they gave me. Before my dad passed, he gave me a kit, some cologne, some fingernail clippers, some scissors, so like some kit to groom myself with. He gave me that kit, and after his passing, I was given some of his clothing, excuse me. But now I'm bigger than my father. My father was real skinny, so a lot of his clothing I cannot fit, but it's in the closet somewhere. So it's a lot of clothing that I received after his passing. Now, what my mom gave me was, like I told you, I get time from my mom, being that she's still living, right? But the most important thing that I desire from my mom, and I guess I appreciate when she do give it, is the time that she spends with her grandchildren, because I do believe that time is important, being that we are not in close proximity. So when she give that time to her grandchildren, it's like giving that present to me, because I do believe, and I'm not trying to make this a somber thing, but I believe that after maybe 2 to 3 generations, you are forgotten about. Nobody's come and visit your gravesite. Nobody remember who ashes that is, just in case you're cremated. So it's that time and the memories that you make with the people that are here, whether it be those photos, just that time that you can look back on. That's what's important. You know what I'm saying? So that's when somebody gives me that time, I cherish that time and I appreciate that time. And when I give somebody my time, I'm making a big investment, because time is something that you can't get back. You can't get a refund on that time. You know what I'm saying? So that's the most important thing that somebody could really give to me. And I do appreciate that. So that's what my mom gave me. And that's what my father gave me.
I remember when your dad, because I remember when we went to his funeral, and I ain't never seen him before. And that was my first time seeing him, and I saw it. I was like, yeah, I see it. Cause I know been knowing Drill for 20 years at the time, and I ain't never seen his dad. Finally saw his dad, at the services, and I'm like, yeah,
For sure.
like Drill.
That boy said,
You don't know what you expected. I don't know if you expect some tall, dark man, or
boy,
some.
you stupid.
Or
I know what you
something
mean.
Like,
I know what you mean. My dad gave me $1 and a basketball from Tulane University. He worked at Tulane. I just enjoyed having that time, and just to show you how significant the male impact is in fatherhood. He did that when I was like, I had to be like 9, 10 when he did that, and I remember that. I remember that day. I almost remember the whole day. That's how significant that moment was for me. He just took me in a car, and he would call me like, his nickname for me was Joe from Kokomo, like the movie or whatever. So he would just call me Joe from Kokomo. And the last thing he gave me was, actually, we talked probably a few months before he died, and I told him, I love you. There's no, you know what I'm saying, animosity, anything like that. Just wanted to shower him with love, you know what I'm saying? Because you really never know how people are experiencing life unless you're around them every day. You know what I'm saying? And people, regardless of their titles, father, mother, whoever, just people, just the decency to respect humans, you know what I'm saying, for being human and trying to experience life and trying to make all these decisions and getting your heart broke and breaking hearts and lying and being lied to and telling the truth and exposing stuff. Just the experiences of life. It matured me, you know what I'm saying? And so we had that conversation, and I told him I love you, and he replied with thank you. And I expected it to kind of rattle me, but it didn't. And it didn't because of how I view life. My older brother, he told my older brother to make the connection with me and my older sister. His other child is my older sister, Bianca. And me and my older brother made that connection. His name is also Horace. And it was all love. It was all love, like we had been around each other this whole time. That's why I'm like, I guess my story is a little different because after I developed that side, it's all love on that side now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it was lack of knowledge, no communication really. Pops didn't really say what was the real on my side or his side or to anybody really. He was just living life. And so I just leave a lot of stuff to the unknown and just let love show, man. But yeah, that it was $1 and a basketball, and then the conversation we had months before he passed. My mom, the last thing she gave me was prayer. She prayed for me a couple months ago on a situation we had going, and just wanted to pray. It was a quick prayer, but all prayer counts. You know what I'm saying? So she prayed real quick on something, and that was it. But yeah, that's my last thing my dad and my mom gave me.